All right, so I'm going to call the June 13th meeting of the Planning, Zoning, and Housing Committee to order. We have Erica joining us as well now. So as far as our agenda, we need to hear first from Public Works regarding the Hanson Road easements. And then we also have Monica McNally here, and she's going to give us a little update on what's happening with the Great Island consultants. I hope so. Darren and Ed, I did send around the easement package. The easements have been reviewed and voted on. There was a mandatory referral to the Planning and Zoning Commission, which they reported positively on April 23rd. And then the Board of Selectmen voted positively on June 3rd to proceed with the easements. So I was hoping, whichever one of you wants to take the lead on this, you could just give us just sort of a summary of what's happening at the Hanson Road Bridge and why we need these easements, and then just distinguish between there's part of this that's temporary and part of it that's permanent, just so we make sure we understand that piece of it as well.
Thanks, Amy. I'm going to defer to Darren. He's been running this project and running it quite well, and has gotten us to where we are. So I'm going to turn the mic right over so that we can get right into this. But again, thank you for inviting us to come in front of your committee. Thank
you very much for coming to make it so that I don't have to try to wade my way through this and get it all wrong. All right, okay. Go ahead, Darren.
I'm Darren, and Ed's assistant. Hanson Road Bridge was found to be deficient a couple of years ago, and if you go out there, you'll notice there's plates on the road, barricades, and we're pushing traffic off onto the part that's more sturdy, and the plate is there to act as a safety in case the bridge does move. The plate would support vehicles temporarily. We check it once a week. We've been to Planning and Zoning, as you mentioned. We've been to Environmental Protection Commission. We've been to the Board of Selectmen about the easements, and it sounds like you folks want to hear about the easements, so I'll get right to that. When you're on the bridge, to the north is the country club, Weaver Country Club, and to the south there's two residences, one on each side of the river, 100 Hanson Road and 88 Hanson Road. So we need a temporary and permanent easement from Weaver Country Club. We need a temporary and permanent easement from 88 Hanson Road. And we need just a temporary easement from 100 Hanson Road. So the 188 Hanson Road is on the west side of the river, on the Stanford side of the river. We need temporary and permanent easements to build the bridge. We found that, believe it or not, the country club property is so close to the bridge that actually a portion of the existing bridge is on their property. So of course, for us to even take the bridge down, we would need some sort of permission from them. In addition to that, the main reason is there is a temporary bypass that has to be installed. We have to install a couple of pipes around the bridge area from the country club property and reconnect it to the stream downstream, which will allow us to work in the dry. We've been working very closely with the residents. They've been great. We have the easements signed by the residents. The permanent easements are on Weburn and 88 are specifically for, on 88's property, there's a new guide rail that meets current standards. And in order to not put a guide rail all the way across the front of their property, we approached them and asked them for an easement so that we could turn the guide rail into their property and terminate it. I'm sure you've all seen the end of a guide rail. You just can't have a blunt end. That's more dangerous. So we spoke with 88 about that, and they've agreed to give us an easement. And Weaver and Country Club, likewise, the bridge is going to be a little bit on their property. The property line is actually right up against the road, and we're going to need to be able to maintain our bridge there. So that is the reasons behind the easements. I understand you folks might be interested in the cost of the easements. There's damages associated with the easements. There were appraisals done by a licensed appraiser through our attorney. It was done independently of us. We had no input on that. They came to the conclusion that both the temporary and the permanent easement for 88 Hanson Road is $12,590. The temporary easement for 100 Hanson Road is $9,260. And the permanent and the temporary easement for Hollow Tree Ridge Road is $5,010. As we plan to, let's see, go before the full RTM on Monday the 17th. And if we secure that approval, as we hope we will have the easement documents finalized. They'll be signed by the first selectman. Our maps will be signed by the chairman of Planning and Zoning, Jeremy Ginsburg. We will immediately record the document and the map and put that to bed so we can go on with the rest of the project. The status of the project, interested in that?
Sure.
Okay.
Please.
Today is the 13th, and if we did not, we will very shortly post our project for bid. It should have appeared in the newspaper today. It should be on our website. The person who is responsible for posting on the website was sick, but she contacted me from home and said she would take care of it. And we hope to collect bids on Monday, July 1st. We'll actually find out what contractors are interested and how much they're willing to do the job for. I should mention, in all of this money, you might also be interested that we sought and were approved for a 50% grant from the Connecticut State Local Bridge Program. My boss, Ed, and our consultant actually went upstate and did a presentation to the state and were successful in getting that money. So half of the money is state money, which is great. The total cost of the project is $2,042,000-ish. So half of that will, over $1 million, will come from the state.
Oh, great. One question I had about the temporary easements, it does say in there, as is typical, that you're to return the property to its pre-existing condition. Is it a situation where you can avoid, taking down any mature trees? It's really just ground that's going to be disturbed?
It's just ground that's going to be disturbed because we have to put a temporary pipe two temporary pipes through the corner of their property. There will be a number of mature trees, maybe a half a dozen, that are going to come down. White pines, some of them are unhealthy and should come down anyway. And I believe a couple of them are probably in good shape. We have a planting plan in place that we work closely with the residents on. We have a number of trees that are consistent with wetlands and also just help screen this new guide rail that we're going to put up that the people are not in favor of looking at from their house. So
is the cost of that, the cost of all that is included in in what you were pricing out before? Okay, perfect.
Yes, it is. As you know, we can't put back a 24-inch white pine tree,
right?
But there is a number of there's many more plants than are there now, so that the residents will be shielded from the view of the bridge and the guide rail, right away. And of course, as the trees get more mature, I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to thin things out a little bit after things, fill in.
Right. Okay. Any questions from anyone else? Erica, go ahead. I think you're muted though. Still muted.
I'm just curious, is that 50% that we're getting from the state, was that the federal infrastructure dollars that were set aside, or is that just strictly from the state?
No, Ed went and got it. If I could hand it to him, it was state, but.
Okay, I'm just curious. Thank you.
Ed?
Yeah, it's different than the money that I think you're referencing, but it's a bridge program. It's federal to state, but it's state local bridge program where they give for bridges that are under 20 feet in width.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right. Well, thanks, Ed and Darren. Really appreciate your time. I guess can I get a motion to approve recommendation of the 3 easements or the easements on the 3 properties to the RTM?
So moved.
Second? Okay, so we've got Mike Solo as a first, Kirk as a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. And that was unanimous. Thank you all. All right.
Thank
really
you very
appreciate
much
your
for your
time.
support.
Thanks,
All right.
Darren.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
your time, guys.
All right. So the second part of our agenda, now we are not reporting on anything regarding Great Island, but the RTM will be voting on the funds for the consultant. And of course, there's going to be a lot of land use issues that come up out of what the consultant's doing. So I thought it would be helpful for all of you to kind of get a sense of where we are, how we got to where we are, and where we're going. Also, just, my personal plug, and I'm sure Monica will give the same plug, is to really encourage everyone in this committee to stay involved in the planning process as it goes forward. These folks are going to want to hear from as many people as possible. And this committee, the RTM as a whole, has been sort of clued into what's going on with Great Island all along. So it's important, I think, that they hear from us and we make our thoughts heard. But hopefully everyone read the summary that Monica prepared that I sent around the other day. So we don't have to, make her give the same spiel that she's had to give quite a few times already. But Monica, I'll let you go ahead and talk, and then maybe if we have some questions from the group, if that works for you.
Yeah, that's great. First, congratulations to all of our graduates, whether you are in town, going to school in town or somewhere else, or your 5th grade, your high school, whatever. Congratulations to the kids, and congratulations to the parents. Big lift. So good job. So I sent out, I created this document that Amy sent out that the whole RTM is getting. I created actually just kind of for myself, and the Park and Rec Committee and Public Works wanted to know how we got to where we were. So I recreated where we started in January and what we did to identify the firm that we finally chose and that we're very, very excited about. So just real briefly, it was an RFP, or an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications that went out. And we had 16 firms respond, which is a big number. You've seen that on some of these bids, we haven't gotten any bids on some town projects. So to get 16 firms to create the documents that really were anywhere from 75 to 150 pages worth of work was pretty great. We had a couple of key people on our committee that worked really hard on the RFQ and then on the RFP, along with Ed Gentile and Kate Bush, to create that document. And when we put that out, we had 6 firms that responded, and we had two. What did we do? So we had 6 firms respond to that. We did tours on the island, so all of the firms and their teams. And these were anywhere from 6 to 12 people per team that were on the tour, visited the property, and then they submitted an RFP. We then interviewed 4 of the firms, and then we did reference checks. So in the RFQ, one of the things that we asked them to do is give us 5 case studies, and they were pretty in depth. So either committee members visited some of these sites if they were local, and we also checked on all of on references for 4 out of each of the firm's case studies, so 16 in total. After that, the committee met a number of times, and on May 28th, we made a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen to recommend Reed Hildebrand as the consultant. The vision plan will establish a long-term vision for Great Island, and it includes public engagement, financial planning, governance model development, identifying funding sources for future capital projects, managing operations and maintenance costs, and I think that's it on the financial side. The funding that we are looking at for the RTM approval on is for phase 1 and 2 of a 4-phase project. So I'll just go over really quickly. Phase 1 is creating a vision plan, and that is estimated to take about 6 months. That includes project familiarization, vision plan development, public and stakeholder review and input. And then phase 2, the second 6 months of this 1-year estimated duration, includes creating a master plan and concept design. And that's, again, public outreach and review, pedestrian access and circulation, vehicular access and circulation, buildings assessment, site features, preservation, landscaping, hard and soft surface paving, site utility infrastructures, coastal area review, revenue generating activities, funding strategies and governance structure, preliminary conceptual design plan and report, cost estimate development, phasing strategy, town approvals, and final concept design and report. We were very interested in a firm. All of the firms, I mean, especially the 4 finalists were all very, very high quality, and the committee is really, really grateful for all of the work that they did and the ideas that they brought forward, which I think will be helpful going forward for all of us. But we were really interested in a firm that had really strong public outreach and really strong financial advisory services. So we feel that Reed Hildebrand assembled a team of experts and experienced in all of the key areas that we are focused on, and we are really, really excited to go forward with them. So on the pricing for phase 1 and for phase 2, I gave you a spreadsheet on this. The initial price was $1,661,555, so $1,661,555. We negotiated a discount of 18%, which brought the price down to $1,362,475. We are also, the Great Island Advisory Committee also recommended that we use the services of Redness and Mead to act as a liaison between the team, Reed Hildebrand, and their subs, and the Great Island Committee and Department of Public Works to advise us on everything from local approval requirements, site-specific information, and other community factors. So when we reviewed that with Reed Hildebrand, they did come back with a revised price and gave us basically a credit for the services that Redness and Mead will be providing. So the Redness and Mead contract is for $45,000, but there was a reduction on the contract from Reed Hildebrand, bringing that total to $1,387,475 for the consultants. We estimate there'll be about $5,000 in bond fees for this, and we put in a small contingency of a little over 2%, or $32,525, which gives us a request for $1,425,000. So I'm going over kind of the highlights of the report that Amy shared with you, and now I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Monica. First of all, thank you to the committee for all the work they've done so far and getting us to this point. I know the town is really appreciative, and I really appreciate you coming to spend some time talking us through this in advance of the RTM meeting. I'll just start it off with a couple questions I had. I guess, and maybe this is sort of going to be a little bit of my ignorance as far as the different types of master plans. But, when I look at, for example, like the Parks Master Plan or some other plans, even the Plan of Conservation Development, they sort of end up being, there's some action items, but there's a lot in there that's kind of hopeful, would be nice, sort of vision type things. Is the expectation that whatever comes out of this master plan is what is going to be done on the island, or is there at that point, are there going to be further public hearings where we go through sort of piece by piece and decide, are we going to do this piece, or is it once we have this master plan, we're doing everything that's in there?
Well, again, a big part of this is the public outreach, which will be starting. The committee will be meeting with Reed Hildebrand in mid-July, and beginning that first phase of familiarization with the property, and then creating the public outreach components, which will be focus groups and digital presence and on-site visits, that kind of thing. So that's kind of the first part, and that will drive really what happens next. I mean, it could be that we that the community really wants to do 50 things. And of course, we can't probably do 50 things, so we'll have to prioritize. But all of that will be part of that public outreach part. So I don't think we're I do hope that when we get the master plan, there'll be actionable items. That's why we're going through this effort, and we're making this financial investment. But what those will be, I don't know right now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Obviously. Yeah. I'm just sort of trying to understand. I guess to your point, I've heard so many different things about what people want to do there, and I guess I'm a little worried that we're going to have this master plan that's going to have this sort of pie in the sky. But I guess that's part of what the process is going along, and looking at the cost. It's obviously a big component of it as we go forward.
Right. But we're not interested in doing all of this work. I mean, we've already spent 6 months just identifying the firm, and now we're going to commit another year's worth of time to creating this master plan. And we definitely are not interested in creating a plan that sits on a shelf.
That definitely answers the question very well. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Monica? Erica?
Okay, I'm not on mute. I just want to say that I appreciate the care and consideration of community input and feedback. I appreciate you taking your time to do it, because this is something that's going to impact our community for decades, a lifetime. And I appreciate and see the care that your committee is putting into this. And I just wanted to show my appreciation.
Thank you. Really appreciate that, Erica.
Mm-hmm.
I will bring that message back to the rest of the committee. And thank you.
Agreed. Any other questions from anyone in the group?
I have a quick question. So Monica, I saw that they're going to film a movie on Great Island. So is that revenue?
First movie deal.
So is that revenue
exciting.
generating? And are you looking to do more things like that to generate revenue to offset cost? And will Great Island be shut down during those times?
Okay, so the last one is easy. No, it won't be. Residents will be able to go onto the property while the filming is happening. So this is this really small budget. This is like I don't know, it's like 50 actors and crew members. We are being compensated $3,500 a day, which we, obviously we appreciate. And we appreciate that our communities can still use the property. The filming will be, it'll be in the stable area, but they're actually not interested in, this is the Battle of Lexington and Concord. So this isn't like a Western. So they're going to use the stables, but they'll be using the tack room and one of the offices, I believe. And then they'll be down by the water. There's a battle down there, and then they're using the main house. So filming will be for 7 days on the island, and one day they needed a bridge. We didn't have a bridge, so they need to go somewhere else. But I guess that's unusual to do the majority at one site, which they were pretty excited about. This is all new for me, so I didn't know that was a big deal. It'll be filming from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're going to start on Monday. I have been bringing them over there, myself and Tony Campanella from Public Works, for a little bit of but so far it's been they've been wonderful to work with, and it's been manageable. So it's this a good learning experience for us. I think, if it works well, it's great. We, right now we're in a kind of a sweet spot, right? So we have these structures, and they're basically, most of them are very empty, and the main house is empty. So it's easier for them. It's easier for a film company to come in. So I've reached out to a few others, and we'll see. But to answer your question, you will not be able to do anything that you can't do now. So there'll be some additional signs put up that say, please stay on the path. And I'm sure, if people are curious, the filming crew will, will answer questions if they can, but you can't, walk down and see where it's being filmed.
Can't force ourselves to be an extra.
No, although, I'm working on getting John a spot, because he's got, he's just like a natural for some of this stuff. So
I think he's got some of the outfits too. So
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Not to monopolize, but Deirdre made me think of another question I had. Can you give us a little bit of an update on where we are with the road and getting access so that people can park down there and don't have to walk from Pear Tree?
Right. So, and you need a beach pass. So I hope everybody in town likes Pear Tree Beach enough to get the town beach pass. You do need that if you want to park there to walk to Great Island. We put together the bid package, and I think the design for 23A, we spent a lot of time with various committees and commissions getting our approvals, and we put it out to bid. It was an aggressive schedule, and I'm going to take responsibility for that because I wanted to get it done as quick as possible, but the firms basically had their work calendars filled for, we wanted them to start in, I think it was 6-7 weeks, and they were filled. So what we're going to do is put that back out to bid, and I'm hopeful that we will get it back out to bid by mid-July. And we're still looking to get the road widened by the end of the year.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? John, I know you don't have a way to wave at me. Did you have any questions?
No, that I appreciate what Monica said. It's really a good update.
Great.
So, I will just say one other thing, which has nothing to do with today, right? But so when we were talking with these firms, they had, a couple of them had an idea, which was really intriguing. That's this early win kind of idea. And so one of the things I think that we'll be taking a look at is if we can have some sort of a walking trail. And of course, some pocket parking would be beneficial. So, like if we do a trail, we will, this is a project, and we will be coming back to the RTM if we decide to pursue that. This would be something that would be in stage 3 or 4, right? We're actually constructing something as opposed to creating. So if we get feedback from the community early on that this is something that they would like fast tracked, we will adjust our plans and see what we can do to bring that forward. So that brings me to my last point, which is I think it's really, really important, and Amy, I'm sure you agree with me, for people to get out and walk the property. If you get out there, you're going to be in such a better position when we're looking for input. So I ask you, oh my gosh, I'm looking out my window. I just saw a baby fawn. Sorry, I digress. But if you get out and you take a walk on the property, you're going to come back with a better sense of what you would like to see happen. So use this time before we start that outreach. We're looking to do the outreach in mid-September when everybody gets back into town, and the kids are back in school, which is kind of funny. We're talking about graduation and the kids going back to school in the almost same sentence, but that's when we'll be really reaching out to the community, when everybody is in town.
Great. Okay. And how will you be publicizing those meetings?
That's a good question, Amy. We will definitely be pushing it out. I think I'd like to have like a dedicated website for Great Island, and that's one of the things that we'll be discussing early on with Reed as to how to approach that. So I would say that would be one way, but we will be proactive in getting that message out for sure.
Great. Sandra, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a really quick question, Monica, on the Redness and Mead, the civil engineering. I'm noticing the line item at 45,000, but the credit was for 20,000. Does that mean R&H are using their own civil engineering too?
So Langen is the engineering firm for Reed Hildebrand, and Redness and Mead will be acting more as a liaison for the town. So we can't, there'll be I think 20 meetings in this first stage that, we will need expert advice as to what happened in those meetings. And that's where Redness will come in. So, and Redness also they actually were the surveyor for this property before the town even looked at it. So they have quite a bit of information to share with Reed Hildebrand. So that's where the contract is for 45,000, but the credit is for a lot of that back work that Redness already did. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Any Any other questions from anyone? No? All right. Well, I think we're good then. I really appreciate, again, you taking your time to give us a little more information and allow us to ask some questions. I think we're definitely more prepared for the RTM meeting on Monday. And, you know, I think I'll say I hope we're all excited to get involved and participate in the planning process as we move along. But thank you again for all your hard work on this.
Well, thank you, committee, and I hope you'll support this. We have a Board of Selectmen meeting that night, so I will come down to your meeting as soon as our meeting is over with. But I know that Mark Adelet has been following this process very closely, and he'll be giving an update. And I did speak with Mark's committee and Mark and Park and Rec. Maybe I told you this already, and Finance and Budget. So I'm hoping that a lot of questions were answered, but Mark will be there to answer any that come up off the floor.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks, Monica.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks.
I'm going to jump. Okay. Bye.
Okay. So the only other thing on our agenda before we adjourn is we got a little off cycle with meetings because the RTM meeting changed, which was one of the reasons why we had to do a special meeting this month. But I just want to make sure, I guess, that we're on track. And I'm just pulling up my calendar, sorry, for sort of our future meetings. We will be, when the RTM takes time off in the summer, we'll take that time off. But I think we've got, when do we have our next meeting scheduled? Actually, I don't know that we do have another one scheduled till after the summer. Yeah, we don't have another meeting scheduled until September. So hopefully, I don't know that anything else is going to come up before then, but I just wanted to make sure everyone had that kind of on their calendar. And
What's the date of that one, Amy?
I'm sorry?
What is the date?
Our September meeting is September 12th.
Gotcha.
With the RTM meeting being September 23rd after that.
Just verifying that's our next scheduled meeting for us.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see if anything comes up between now and then that we need to meet on. I just I guess we didn't really need to discuss meetings unless anyone wanted to suggest a change to our normal meeting date. Oh, that was kind of why I wanted to talk about it. Sorry, I knew there was a reason. So I am trying to get a couple of the legislatures to come in to talk to us about what's happening in Hartford regarding the housing legislation. And I'm having a lot of trouble with their schedules I was trying to just stick with the Thursday evening, and I put out literally every Thursday evening and couldn't find one that was going to work for everybody. So I just wanted to get sort of just a straw poll if people are interested in hearing from the legislatures. If so, I will continue to work on finding a date that might work for the two of them. And then maybe if I can get a few dates that'll work, I can put it out to everybody because it'll probably not be on our normal cycle. But if people are sort of feel like they know enough from what they've been reading and don't think that'll be helpful, then I won't keep trying, basically.
I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, I do too.
I think
Okay.
I think in terms of scheduling, I think it should either be soon, like by the end of June, or more toward the end of August. I have a feeling it's going to be really hard to get people together. So, I mean, that's just my feeling.
Yeah, I think
Vacations
you're.
and stuff.
I don't think you're wrong about that at all. But
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So if everyone thinks it's worthwhile, I'll continue to work on it. I'll also send out to you sort of in this process. I'll try to send out. I found as the sort of, I don't know, lobbyists seem to be on sort of the two polar sides, but I think I found a pretty good sort of fact sheet from each side. I'm not supporting anything. In fact, I think probably the reality is a little in the middle, as it always is, but I'll try to send that out to everyone so that you at least have kind of some information on what's been happening so far.
Okay.
All right, so I think that's
Right.
that's about it, unless there's anything. I can't really take any new business because it's a special meeting, but if anyone wanted to talk about any scheduling or anything like that, we can take that up. No.
No.
All right. Well,
I'm good.
listen, thank you guys all so much for, I know this was a little last minute that some of you heard who came in. I literally had no idea that we had to report to the RTM on Monday until about when I scheduled this meeting. So I appreciate you guys all jumping on it so quickly. I will take a motion
Thanks
to
for being
adjourn.
so organized, Dan.
I think it was a
appreciate
good update too. I was
Awesome,
glad.
thank you.
Good. All right, great. All right, so motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn.
Dan, and second by Erica. All right, thank you all.
Good night.
Take care.
you.
See you on
Good night,
Monday.
all.
Bye, guys. See ya.